Welcome to Talking It Out. I'm Jonathan Geffner, and my special guest here today is Nikolas Bushi. I didn't quite pronounce it. Nikolas Bushi. I think I got that right. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Thank you very
So
much for having me.
I'm very happy to have you here, Nicholas, because you are one of the most, I would say, extraordinary talents out there, young ventriloquists in the world today, as many in the audience, most of the audience probably know already. And you're taking the ventriloquist world by storm, and also the regular world pretty much by storm too. I've had the pleasure of talking with you a few times, and even we did a little video together
Yeah.
last year. Now I'm very glad that you could join me for this chat for other people to also enjoy, learn a little bit more about you. First off, what was your path to becoming a ventriloquist? When did that start in your short life till to date?
Well, the first time I ever saw ventriloquism was in 2015. That was when Paul Zerdan was on America's Got Talent. And that year he won. And I got inspired. So I had this little doll that you could use it with 3 fingers. It didn't have a moving mouth. It was a hand puppet where you move the hands and the head. And after a day or two, I gave up. But then I guess I was lucky to once again, after 2 years, see it on America's Got Talent again. Darcy Lynn this time, and she did great. She won as well that year, and I got inspired. And I asked my parents if they could buy me a puppet or DVDs and books, and to learn ventriloquism. And from that moment on, I've been practicing every day, and I love ventriloquism. And I'm very happy that maybe this was meant to be, that I would see ventriloquism again on TV after giving up in 2015. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
well, I'm certainly glad that that wasn't the end of it when you gave up the first time. A lot of people will
Yeah.
be glad of that. And then you had a meteoric rise to fame. You are somewhat famous for sure, and I'm sure your fame will grow through the years. You also are a number of things. I've noticed you're a magician too,
Yeah.
and
My dad
also
is a magician.
you
When I was
incorporate that.
6, yeah, I try to, but yeah, I also do it separate. Sometimes I do just magic, sometimes just ventriloquism, or sometimes here and there magic and ventriloquism. But my first ever show actually was a magic show in my school talent show in the 6th grade. And I did a coin trick and a card trick, so it went great. That was my first ever show. It was a magic show. So yeah, my dad is a magician, and but he's not a ventriloquist. I am the ventriloquist, yeah.
Do you actually do separate magic shows sometimes without ventriloquism, or just you mean the videos that you do sometimes just magic?
I don't do just magic shows. I mostly do ventriloquism, but when it depends. If I have like 45 minutes or if I have only 15 minutes, then I'll do 15 minutes of ventriloquism and that's it. If it's 45 minutes, then I'll do some magic and some ventriloquism. I'll start off with a Rubik's Cube magic trick and then I'll do ventriloquism. So yeah, ventriloquism is my main thing, I guess.
At what point did you decide that ventriloquism is my main thing? Was it shortly after that second time around with ventriloquism where you actually decided to stick with it, or did it take a while for you to decide that it's really ventriloquism more than magic that you want to do?
After I started doing ventriloquism in the summer of 2017, I had my first show, which was in front of 400 people in a robotic competition for a middle school. And I was in the closing ceremony where they had different performers, and people really loved it. And then after I had my second show, uh, people loved it too, but it was just the beginning. And there was a lady there that said some people have a talent or a lot of people have a talent to play tennis. A lot of people have a talent to play an instrument. Not a lot of people have a talent to do ventriloquism. And I think from that moment, it inspired me a bit more. But what definitely helped a lot was when I went to the ventriloquist convention with amazing people. They're very friendly, very nice, and a great convention. I learned a lot. I performed in the junior open mic and I got first place. So yeah, from that moment on, I knew that I was going to pursue ventriloquism.
Well, you're obviously a very natural talent, evidenced by how quickly you became so skilled at this. At this
Thank you.
point, you are already one of the most skilled, most highly skilled ventriloquists in the world, I believe, for getting age,
Yeah.
and especially considering your age. That's a phenomenal development. You also have all the elements to have a very big career because, in addition to you being technically very skilled, you also have a very endearing kind of stage presence, very natural feel, and the way you come across to people, and you are master already of the manipulation of your puppet, mainly Chris being your main puppet, right?
Yeah,
You know, all the banter, the back and forth, always is very engaging and natural, and so it's something that people can see right away that this is you have a very special talent for this.
thanks.
Uh, you also play soccer, right? You were kind of when do you find time for that? Because I know you have some videos I've seen where you show some of your soccer skills. How
Yeah.
how much do you do that? How much
Well,
do it?
I started playing soccer actually at the age of 5. I used to play for a team because I was born in Italy and I lived there for 9 years. And I used to play for a pretty, I guess, professional team. They would travel around in different cities to play other teams. And I was playing for a team in Italy until we moved here. And then after a few months, I started playing for a team here in New York. And when the pandemic happened, I stopped playing for a team because the
Uh,
coach left. And yeah, I shifted more of my focus into ventriloquism because that was in 2020, also like near 2019 when I got inspired from the convention. So I shifted my focus more into ventriloquism, and that's when I also opened social media. But yeah, I still love to play soccer. It's my one of my favorite hobbies to do besides ventriloquism and magic. And yeah, I still play almost every weekend with friends just for fun. I don't play for a team.
you are also trilingual, I believe. Yes, you're
Yeah.
fluent in Italian, Albanian, right?
Yes, both my parents are Albanian, so I also speak Albanian.
Oh, and
They say,
Italian comes in. You said you were born in Italy?
yes, I was born in Italy and I lived 9 years there. In 2013,
Oh, I
we
see.
moved here. Yeah.
So your parents are both ethnically Albanian, but they lived in Italy, right?
Yes.
Do you speak Italian or Albanian with your parents?
We speak Albanian since even when I was little, I was speaking more in Albanian, but with my sister, I spoke in Italian back then. And then when we moved here, I said, all right, let's to learn the new language, English. Let's talk in English now with each other, since we're trying to learn instead
Mm-hmm.
of Italian. So then we stopped talking Italian, but we still do like with friends and family on the phone. We still talk Italian, and yeah, maybe I speak a bit better Italian than my sister because she grew up less in Italy and more here.
Right.
So
You're still keeping it up enough, right? The Italy, you can still speak it comfortably, right?
yeah, and actually when I went there this past month because I was invited to go in Munich by the ESPN and the Bundesliga to go into the stadium of my favorite team and do content there, watch the game live and see the museum, which was a great experience. It was amazing to bring Chris there. And yeah, after that whole experience there, and meet some legends in soccer too. After that experience, we went to Switzerland to visit some family and in Italy. So actually, I performed my first ever show in Italian of ventriloquism in Switzerland, and it was a very, very great experience. And I was a bit nervous because it was my first show in
Yeah.
Italian. It
That
went
that
great.
is challenging to perform in a different language that you're not used to. Even if
Yeah.
you're fluent in the language, it's if you haven't done it. Or did you find it like you were translating in your head as you're going along? Or
Yeah.
is it
Yeah.
yeah.
And plus in Albanian I did like some TV interviews on Skype in 2021. So if it was in Albanian, maybe it would be easier for me. But if since it was in Italian, it was way harder. So after my first show that I did there, I did like 2 more and I was a bit more comfortable. So it went great.
Did you find that some of the jokes don't translate easily and you have to rephrase them or rethink them how you're going to say it, right? Because
Yeah.
it's a little different.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I have that same issue with Yiddish because I speak Yiddish fluently, although not as fluently as English because my native language is English. But I learned Yiddish and I teach it and translate it on the side and perform it. I've become popular in Hasidic Jewish communities because of the fact that I speak Yiddish and can perform in Yiddish because they're the only Jewish communities left that actually speak Yiddish because they all switched over. I mean, in Israel,
Yeah.
Hebrew is the language. I speak Hebrew also, but not as well.
Speaking another language and performing in one is always a plus. There's no There's
Yeah,
never
well, it's
negative.
it's helped me. You can open up a different market, very unexpected market for me because I didn't have any connection with that community in the past, but they heard about me and word got out that I perform in Yiddish, so I do that. But I was just going to say that in my experience, it's always challenging. It's more stressful to perform in Yiddish because a lot of the jokes I find don't translate that easily into Yiddish. It's so I have to rephrase things a lot in my head. So getting back to you, social media is a big, huge arena for you that you excel in. TikTok in particular, I think, right? You have a couple of million or more followers.
Well, it all started during the pandemic, where I had, of course, way more time. I think every ventriloquist had a lot more time to dedicate more time into their art and practicing. And I said, okay, well, why not? Maybe I'll open a TikTok since it's so popular. I'll do some videos since everyone is in a bad mood to lighten up the mood, make people laugh a bit. Because I was already posting some videos on Instagram, but it was more magic videos. So I said, okay, let me try on TikTok and post some ventriloquism videos. And yeah, I downloaded it like 11 p.m. at night, right before going to bed. And I said, all right, well, I'll just post a couple of videos and see what happens tomorrow. So I post one or two, I go to sleep, and when I wake up the next morning, I see that one got, I think, 80,000 views within one day. It was a Cookie Monster video, and I was, how is this possible? Are these fake? Are these bots?
Hmm.
And I was surprised. And then within a week, I got 11,000 or 12,000 followers on TikTok. And I was like, still, like, what's going on? I mean, so many people. I didn't expect it to grow up that fast, like the account. And ever since then, I've focused a lot on the social medias. And now it's gotten to 2.5 million
Hmm.
followers on TikTok, 100,000 on Instagram, and 800,000 something on YouTube. And quite a few videos got a lot of views on YouTube. One got 230 million. It was with the Time Warp. And
Oh, right. Let's take a look at that very video that you're referencing that got a phenomenal, what you said, 350 million views?
230.
200, only 230 million? Is that all? Oh, that's okay. Well, yeah, that's still pretty phenomenal. 230 million. Wow. Okay, let's take a look. Here it is. Oh, no, no.
Nom 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 nom
So that was the explosive viral video that my guest Nikolas Bushi posted on YouTube first, right? Is that where it was first, or TikTok first?
I posted it on TikTok and on YouTube, all the social medias. On TikTok, it got maybe 1 million, so it was nothing compared to YouTube. I mean, it's still a lot, 1 million or 2 million, I'm not sure, but it was nothing compared to how much success I had on YouTube. I mean, I
Yeah,
didn't expect it to have that much. 230 million is almost America's whole population.
yeah.
So it was crazy. And yeah, I mean, it was kind of a simple video, I guess, that was trending at the time. Almost no
Mhm.
ventriloquism involved because there was a music.
Right.
And yeah, I got a lot of views. And there was another one that was Time Warp with Cookie Monster. That one got 200 million as well. And it was with a floating cookie.
We do have another clip of another short clip with Chris, your main character. Before we see it, how did you develop Chris, the character of Chris?
Well, it's a very nice story because one of my favorite ventriloquists, his name is Steve Hewlett. He's
Oh,
from
sure,
England.
yes. It's
Yeah,
a
he's an
friend of
amazing.
mine, I'd like to say, because we've talked quite a bit. He was my guest recently also.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's an
so
amazing person, and of course, an amazing ventriloquist. Very kind, as a person, very nice, and yeah. He saw my videos on YouTube. I think maybe he saw my performance at the ventriloquist convention in 2019, and he messaged me on Facebook. And he said, "Hey, Nicholas, you're great. I saw your videos. Can I send you a gift if that's okay with your parents? Send me your address." And I said, "Okay, this might be fake or something." So I checked on his profile and it was him. I couldn't believe it because I always watched his videos in the beginning of
Mm.
his performances on BGT, which he did great. He was in the final.
Mm.
And yeah, I mean, he sent me Chris, which is not the one I use now. The other one is kind of like paint's coming off.
Mhm.
It's kind of ripped here and here. From that moment on, I started using Chris because I was using Little Jeff before, Jeff Dunham's puppet.
Oh,
And
I see.
yeah,
So that became
uh,
your new character. So let's take a look at. We have a clip of Chris enduring a sewing trauma. Here it is.
Hey, don't touch me. Don't worry, Chris. We will fix it. Alright. Hey, what are you doing? It hurts. Easy. Careful. Guinea cuddles. Enough. We're almost there, come on. Nick, are we done? Almost. Now we need to put the band-aid. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now it's good. Yeah.
And we're back with my special guest, Nikolas Bushi. And that was Chris, your main character. You do have, I think, a couple of other characters you use occasionally, right?
mhm.
I saw at least one other. What other character or characters do you have?
Well, I have also Professor Spencer, which is the guy with he has a big nose, he has the glasses, black hair, kind of gray. He's wearing a suit. Personally, he's one of my favorite characters that I have. I think he's great, but I rarely find myself using him on lives on TikTok, on YouTube, because if I use him, right away the comments are gonna be like, "Where's Chris? Where's Chris? What
Right,
happened to Chris? We want Chris
right.
back." So I
Yeah,
mean, I'm
it's
forced to use Chris more, so I don't use him that much. But yeah, he's a great puppet, very well made, and it was sent to me as a gift also by Charles Jett, which is a great
oh
puppet
yes,
maker
yeah.
in
He made
Texas.
puppet for me. Yeah, yeah, for recently also.
Yeah,
So
so he sent me Professor Spencer, I think in 2020 in August. So yeah, it was a very nice gift, very special. And I also have another puppet, which is her name is Linda. She's an elderly lady made by Matt Puppets, which
mhm,
they make great puppets as well.
yes.
So yeah, I have one from Charles Jett, one from Matt Puppets, and of course Chris from Steve Axtell. Those are
Yeah.
my main three, I'd say.
Yeah, I'm sure people would enjoy seeing more of those other characters too.
Yeah.
However, I understand the dilemma because you're so successful with Chris and he's so popular that it's you have the audience clamoring for the one they know already.
Yeah, he's the most popular one. I try to use other puppets on the live, and they want Chris back. Where's Chris? I said, oh well, he got in trouble. We're gonna leave him there as his punishment, and they just want him. Some people leave, and then when they see Chris again, they come back on the live.
Yeah, I can
Doesn't
see that.
bother me, but it kind of does at the same time.
Well, it's a good dilemma to have, the fact that
Yeah.
you're so enormously popular with that character. That character is so enormously popular, so it's kind of hard to work in the others. This is a good position to be in. So, what would you say to this point were the biggest influences in your life? I mean, life or career, which today I'm sure are intertwined. I mean, you mentioned Steve Hewlett. Any other influences among ventriloquists or people outside of ventriloquism? Just anybody?
Well, I'd say pretty much anything successful, any shows, any people who have succeeded are inspiring because they had to work hard to achieve to get that goal that they wanted. So I mean, in ventriloquism, it had to be Steve Hewlett, Ron Lucas, Jeff Dunham, Terry Fader, and the whole ventriloquist community as well, because I think everyone has something that someone can be inspired by. So I would say the whole ventriloquist community would inspire me a lot.
Do you have a favorite comedian or comedy show or comedy team or from now or the past, if you've watched any of the old ones, or do you have any particular favorites or not really?
Well, there's of course the classics, the Three Stooges, which I watched also their movie. That was the more recent one. I forgot what year they released that movie. I think Sofia Vergara is in that movie also.
Oh, so that must be a remake of
Yeah,
the Three Stooges, not the
yeah.
original Three Stooges.
No.
They're
Yeah, I
long
saw that
gone.
remake, of course,
Uh,
also all the successful ones, Dave Chappelle, he's very
uh,
successful. Kevin Hart, of course. There's also I forgot his name, Bill Kirshner, I think. He's releasing a movie recently, called The Machine. I don't know if you've heard of
oh
it.
no, I'm not familiar with him.
I forgot his name at the moment, but I think it's Bill or Bob. I can't remember.
Hmm.
Bob Kirshner. Can't remember his last name either, but his saying is always The Machine, and he's releasing a
Uh-huh.
movie, comedy movie called
Hmm.
The Machine. So yeah, he's also very good. And yeah, there's a lot more.
So,
Yes, Stanley
oh,
and I forgot how you say it in English. In Italian, I know them. They're basically translated. Their movies were translated in Italian when I would watch them. Stanley and
Laurel and Hardy.
yeah, Lauren. Yeah,
All
exactly.
right,
Yeah,
so Stanley, Stan
yeah.
Laurel, Oliver Hardy, right?
Because in Italian, my dad would watch the movies, and when I was little, I would also see them. And in Italian, it's olio and estaglio.
All right, yeah.
Instead in
Sounds
American, in
more
English, it's
elegant in Italian. Everything sounds more elegant in Italian. Where do you usually perform your live shows? I know you're very busy on social media, but you do live shows as well, as we talked a bit about. And what type of venues do you perform at?
Well, I've performed in some comedy clubs in Florida also, and theater in Florida, which I think it was also my first time performing in a comedy club when I went to Florida. And it was amazing. It was an amazing experience, especially the one in the theater where it was an improv group that was performing there. I think it's called they're called Stage 2 Improv. So stage number 2 to improv. And they also invited me to perform like 15 minutes throughout their show. So they were doing improv, and when they had the first act done, the second act I would open, and I did 15 minutes. It was great. It was wonderful to perform in such a beautiful theater in Naples, Florida, and I got a standing ovation. And yeah, it was amazing. So I've performed there and also in private parties, corporate parties. Also, I had my own show in a Greek theater in Astoria, Queens, me and my dad. And that one went great as well. It was my first time ever doing a show, my own show in a theater. So
Mm-hmm.
that was a wonderful experience as well. I learned a lot.
Do you have a preference of the type of venue, the type of audience location that you would like most to perform at, or do you see yourself in the future as gravitating more toward adult shows, kid shows, family shows, or anything else?
I think family and adult show, but mostly family, because when you can do a family show and it's very entertaining, everyone can watch, and parents, I guess, love it even more because that means they can watch it with their kids. So I would say family show more,
Mhm.
but also an adult show and a kids show too would be nice. So I think all three of them are very, very great shows to have. It makes you more complete as a
Mhm.
performer if you can do all three.
Yeah, I see that. I know there are some performers, some ventriloquists who specialize in kid shows or specialize in
And those
adult
are,
shows.
yeah, you have to be very good to do a kids show too.
The kid performers are often looked down upon by the
Yeah,
others because it's thought of as oh, just kids. It doesn't matter what you do, that kind of thing. It's
yeah.
like, but they don't understand that kids are the severest critics. Audiences can be challenging in comedy clubs. They could be rough if you have hecklers and things like that. However, the kids are always very direct. Like with adults, sometimes you get nice audiences who will just go along with polite laughter and things like that, and but with kids you'll never get polite laughter. If they don't
Yeah.
like it, they'll let you know. They either by
Yeah.
being silent or by actively boycotting the show or objecting to the show or just getting wild and that kind of stuff. So yeah, it has its particular challenges. So we have
I
a
think,
short clip. Oh, go ahead.
yeah, I mean, you have to be very, very good to do a kids show. I don't think it should be people who do kids shows shouldn't be looked down upon, because I think they're very underrated, I guess you could say, because yeah, like you said, it's very difficult to do kids shows. So yeah.
We do have a short clip, I think a very brief clip from one of your live performances. So let's see that now.
You can do Damn it, alright. You know, Nick, you did love me kind of lot. I still love you. Okay.
So that was a very brief clip with Nicholas and Chris.
Of
So,
course, Chris would like maybe Chris and Nicholas, but since I'm only here, then Nick and Chris is better.
oh, okay. Yes, Nick and Chris. What is the most memorable experience you've had so far? You mentioned a few exciting experiences you've had recently performing. Is there one in particular that was the most memorable or maybe unexpected?
I would say all of these experiences are amazing. I love all of them, but I would say maybe one that's my favorite would be when I was in the stadium tour in Munich, and that was, of course, one of my dreams come true to be there. But I had Chris with me, and I was sitting in one of the benches where the coaches and players sit, and on the other side of the benches, next to the field, were students on a school trip, and I was doing a video with Chris, and they were all leaning like this, looking at me and Chris doing the video, and I look at them, and they're all laughing, and the teacher's also looking, not talking to them. So then I get Chris, I dance with Chris, and they all laugh, and then I wave with Chris, and they all wave. So I think that was a very beautiful experience because it shows how much people love ventriloquism, and yeah, I think that's one of my favorite, if not my favorite, experience.
Right. It's nice when something extemporaneously happens like that you don't expect, right? That is particularly gratifying, right?
Yeah.
You and I think I mentioned at the outset, you and I did a little video together because I had an idea for some little video that we could do for Christmas coming up at the time. And so I wrote a little script and sent it to you, and you agreed to do it. So here's that little collab I'd like to share with our audience that we did together.
Can you show me that trick again? Sure, I will dribble through the cards like so, and wherever you tell me to stop, I will cut the cards, and the card you cut to is the one you've selected. Okay, here we go. Stop. Here? Now this is the card you've selected, and I will try to figure out what it is. Okay, good luck. 10 of clubs. Turn it around. How the heck did you do? Teach me. What do you mean? Tell me how you did it. Well, Chris, I can't. Why not? Well, because I'm sworn to secrecy. What are you laughing at? Well, because I played a trick on you. What do you mean? I hired 2 private investigators to figure out how you did the trick. Hey, Trillo. Hey, Suede. What did you guys find out?
After an intensive investigation, we've come to the conclusion that there is no explanation for this trick,
Which means that it's not a trick.
it's magic.
There's no such thing as magic.
This supposed trick would be impossible for mere mortals.
It's something that requires sorcery and wizardry.
Give me an example of something else in real life that requires wizardry or sorcery.
Easy, ventriloquism.
I always wondered about that.
Without magic, what Nick did would be impossible.
It would be as impossible
And absurd.
and ridiculous as you, Chris, singing opera style in a soprano voice.
You mean like this?
I think we should stop calling ourselves the world's best detectives.
We can still call ourselves the world's best detectives in our price range.
I still want to know how you did it. Well, first you have to tell me how you can sing opera like that. I'm sorry, Nick. I can't tell you. Why? Because I'm sworn to secrecy.
Back. That's the little collab. I would say collaboration, but today it's a collab. People don't say collaboration.
Yeah, because
gives
maybe
away
they don't know
my
how to say it. They just
gives
or
away
they
my
don't know how to
age when I
spell
say
it.
collaboration because young people or younger people will say collab. And so that was our collab. So before we wrap up here today, what is your biggest goal or dream for the future? Because you've got a very bright future obviously ahead of you in the ventriloquist world, and who knows what else can branch off into. I mean, I don't know if you're interested in acting, or I know you're a singer too. You're
Yeah.
a talented singer, so I'm
Thanks.
sure you'll be
Thank you.
pursuing that as well. Do you have any, at this point, grand dream or goal that you would most like to do, like magic wand moment that you would most like to have happen?
I guess it's the same for every ventriloquist, of course. Would be to have my own TV, or maybe everyone has their different dream, but for me it would be
Different.
to have my own TV show and my own theater show, and perform, have my own show in Vegas and perform in all the most beautiful theaters in the world. That's my dream. Have my
Well,
own TV
that's
show and be on adventures also with Chris. Yeah, that's my dream.
well, I think that's a very attainable dream for you. So unlike a lot of
Thank you.
people, everybody has dreams, and most dreams are very difficult or impossible to attain. But it's it's inspiring for people to have dreams. But in your case, I fully expect you'll be able to fulfill your dreams eventually. I'm going to post the your social links, the social media links under this video, in case people don't already have it. A lot of people already have those links.
Yeah.
But just briefly, just to mention it, just verbally here, where is the best place you would say for people to follow you?
I'd say they can find me anywhere. It's this, all the social medias are same as my name, so all of them work. I post the same videos in all of the social media.
That's convenient and thoughtful of you to make it so easy for all your
Yeah,
supporters and
lucky.
fans to.
And lucky too, because I don't think anyone can have the same name for every social media, because some people have they have names that
Common
almost
names.
everyone, yeah,
Yeah.
common names, yeah, and they
Right.
can't use it. Maybe someone else is using it, so I was lucky as well to have that.
I'm sure most of our viewers today already are following you or subscribe to you and so forth. But for those who didn't yet, now's their opportunity, and we'll post those links right under this video. So thank you very much, Nicholas, for joining me here today
you.
for this chat. It's been a pleasure. And if you enjoyed this interview, and why wouldn't you, make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel right here and hit that notification bell, always important, so that you will not miss future uploads. We'll have a lot more interesting and fascinating guests coming up in future episodes of Talking It Out. And you can watch the new film, the new short film Casanoir, which I recently released on this YouTube channel right here. Winner of 26 at last count, 26 awards at international film festivals. So you can see it for free right here on YouTube, for the time being at least. And check that out, the Trillo Suede web series, and a lot more. So thanks again, Nicholas, and to all of you out there, see you soon.